just a simple wonder.
All right, so we're here to talk about this extremely cool Shadowcrest saber that is one of a pair that came from Dale for David of the Saber Museum. So obviously this is the Wolverine. Now this was a little bit of a challenge, but I took that on. I engaged the help of some fellow installers for extra features. So let's hop down to the table. Let's talk about what all went on with it. We'll show off the chassis design. There's a load of greeblies in there. And then we can show all the accent styles. And then we'll hop back out. We'll show a few blade styles, a few button commands, because this is a little bit different than sabers I've provided for this client in the past, with this being a one button setup with our little glass eye here. So let's do that. Let's hop down to the table and we'll come back. All right, so we have another Shadowcrest on the bench here. This is one of a pair that came to be installed. Obviously, this is the Wolverine saber from Shadowcrest Designs. It is a base model that he's been using for multiple saber types and then doing different shroud designs and etch designs to make them unique. I mentioned on one of my other demos that I'm filming at the same time that part of these come from Dale with no pommel. And this was the first one that I had gotten like that. At around the same time, Jon Rossi had gotten a similar one. And so what I did was had him mill me a pommel that I could use. And then I just used a TCSS. I don't even know what part this is. This is some sort of chassis connector to close off the pommel. And so I designed a chassis for him to be used in these types of designs. Now, because this particular saber has a crystal chamber opening, when I designed my chassis, I did want to make sure and take advantage of that. So David, to you, you kind of said this could be a mid-grade install, but I went ahead and bumped this up to a little bit better because I did want to try and have this printed in brass. So we sent this off to Craftcloud. So you can see I designed on the back side there the X-Men logo to sort of match the etch. But we have a dual crystal set up. These are actual quartz points. We've got Shadowfoil, NeoPixel accent. There's 7 1515 accent NeoPixel accents for each PCB. So we'll get interesting little animations underneath, but each of these is their own subblade. And then I sort of did a bunch of greeblie work that I've done in resin to kind of just fancy this up. I did because we just had a 12 millimeter hole here, like we did the other Shadowcrest I mentioned that was very similar in nature. So I had a spare KR pixel switch. So this is a saber with a one button setup. And so this chassis just comes all the way up. And then I used the glass eye actuator switch from Saberbay. So I used the aluminum version so we could sort of match the silverish look of the claw details. So that will light up and have shine through, but it is a 1-button saber. So I do have, this is uncommon for my installs for you, David, but I've got a set of 1-button instructions. It's actually a little bit easier than I thought it was to use. So I'll demo that with the full blade. I'm not going to cover everything because the printout will be there for you and you'll be able to take it home after your trip here in the States. But yeah, that'll be on the backside. But the cool thing is you can play with it with the chassis out. You'll get accent pixels there. I've got the baffle greeblie with the heat stain pigments on there. That'll do its own thing. And then I do have 2 greeblie port accents. These are their own subblades. So we just got a bunch of pixels here. We are using the Shadowfoil NeoPixel emitter, and that is also subbladed out to do independent animations in the on and off state. And I do have those subbladed into outer, inner, and innermost. So there's 3 rings. So we'll just turn this on real quick. And so you can see that animation. And then does the inverse when it's off. Got the chassis accents. Got interesting little baffle there. And then the accents. And of course, we got 2 crystals. Okay, so when we're ready to put the chassis in, what do we do? All we have to do is line the pixel switch up. Now, again, it's a little bit rough in here, so over time, the chassis may get scratched up, but that's just because there's all these set screws and rough surface finish from when Dale had to get all of these shrouds attached. So I did my best to hone the inside, but we just push it in gently. And then as we get towards the crystal chamber, we can sort of get it fully in place. And what I've done is I've designed the brass part of the crystal chamber to just sit with the top. And so once we're there, we'll know we're done. Before you can put the pommel on, you test if you want to hold the switch. See if it works. Should work just fine. And as long as that works, we'll hit the pommel set screw. Now, again, I mentioned that, on the other saber, this was intended for chassis retention. But for this particular saber, we won't need it because once a blade is in, you're good to go. And there's a little bit, like I said, of a resistance here. Now, I wouldn't go flinging this around without a blade in. So if you're doing it just like I have it to demo it, then I would say put a demo blade in, or you can use this. I don't suggest it because it will mar the finish. And if you forget to back it out, you'll just totally scratch up the chassis. To change presets, we'll just hold long press.
I see you have constructed a new lightsaber.
To go back, point the hilt down and long press.
Ben Kenobi?
We'll go to the top here.
Just a simple wonder.
So for the first font, I decided to put the Ronin in here. There's sort of a run of comics where Wolverine is a Ronin. It also, his voice kind of has a Logan-esque quality. So it was the closest thing I could get to having, something for Wolverine's font. But I did put the OS voice pack for the Ronin as the edit mode. So if you do need to do anything, so long press when the blade is on to turn it off, or to twist on and twist off, or thrust on. But each of the Canon fonts, I did a test on this particular. I don't know if I'm going to be able to demo it. I might do it with the blade in. But I did put all of the voice packs for if there was a character on here. So for instance, if I just do the battery level, which is double tap and then long press and let go to get the battery level. So
battery level
91%.
So that's the Ronin. If we go forward.
Ben Kenobi?
So now we have Ben as the voice pack. So again, we'll do a battery test. Double click and hold.
Battery level 91%.
So there's old Ben. And then if we go to...
I see you have constructed a new lightsaber.
I think this is actually Luke. Oops. So double click in off is actually track. So I didn't do the long press.
Battery level 94%.
So like I said, each character, if there is one, will have the voice pack. This was the first attempt there was something on a thread on the forums for when Brian Connor put these voice packs out that you can actually do multiple ones. This is the first saber I'm putting that on because I wanted to put it to the test. It was just too much work in other sabers for me to do that. So while I was editing this, I did do that. So again, we got interesting little shine through here in the off state and on state. So we're on now. This takes a 1-inch diameter NeoPixel blade. I'll demo that a few fonts with it on.
Help me take this mask off.
So we've got Vader.
Nothing can stop that now.
So what you saw me do there is the track player mode. When the saber is horizontal and you double tap, you'll get into track player mode when the blade is off. But if we're pointing straight up, then we'll do the designated track. So track player just lets you rotate through all of the tracks that are in the common folder, and then you press a button to continue playing that. Otherwise, if you keep moving the saber around, you'll keep rotating through all of the available tracks. But again, like I said,
Battery level 90%.
so now we got Vader for that voice pack. So each preset that you're on, if that font folder has a voice pack, it'll be in there. Otherwise, it'll default to the Ronin voice pack.
I wondered when you would return.
But this has a lot of fonts that, David, I've done for you in the past to cover all the canon colors. And then a couple extra Proffie fonts. And then you sent me Carlos's new font. So that's on here at the end. I think I took pictures with it because I did the dual crystal.
Battery level.
So on the last one, the battery level preset, we've got a green to a red on the crystal chamber. And I believe all the rest of the chassis accents are off so we can save battery power. And then if we go back one more.
Serenity.
Here's the Serenity font. So again, this is a green blade style that came with it. And then if you hold for a force effect, it changes colors. Now what I've done is when you do that, it'll flip-flop the crystals so that the crystal will always match the main blade. The top crystal will always match the main blade. So anyway, that covers it. So when we're ready to take it out, make sure you back this fully out. You'll be able to get your pommel out. There's a little bit of resistance from the, like I said, from the crystal chamber. So you can actually just push from here or with your finger, or you can tap the saber to get it started. And then once it's, part of the way out, then you can just grab the rest of it, carefully pull it out. And then when you're ready, hit the kill switch to turn it off. So SD access with tweezers, easy access to your USB if you're going to end up doing anything in the future. But yeah, so here it is. I hope you like it. I did quite a bit of work on this one. Like I said, you had said a mid-grade would be fine, but I wanted to do something special since we had an exposed crystal chamber, and I didn't want to just use something in resin. So I sent this off in brass. And yeah, so a little bit different of a setup with the one button, but I think you'll get the hang of it. You've probably got some one button sabers. But yeah, hope you like it. All right, so up top, you saw me demonstrate the Ronin sound font to go over all of the different features that you can do with the one button setup. And I did that in regular mode so I could show you how it's done. I did not use gesture controls. I'm sorry, I did not use battle mode to show that off. So with the one button, I'm going to have a printout for you because, again, it's a little different. But you can pretty much do everything that you would normally do. But you can also do it in battle mode. The only way to get to battle mode is to do a thrust on. So that's a forward push or a pull. But everything else with the button will get you into regular mode. And then you can read about how to do all that. So let's start up the saber. This is the Ronin sound font and red blade. And I explained the reason for that down below. But if we double tap and hold, that will get our lightning block. But if we just clash, we're just going to get clashes. But just like with a regular two-button setup, in regular mode, if we hold the button as we clash, we'll get a lockup. And lockup will be mid-blade, as if you're engaging a duel. But if you're fully horizontal, you'll do a melt. And then if you're pointed down, you'll do a drag. And again, I'm holding the button as I clash. There we go. So that is just holding with the button and then doing the different positions for the lockup. So, and then I don't think I demonstrated, but double tap and hold for lightning. With the blade on, if we just hold for a second and let go, we'll do a force effect. If we're not pointed up. I'm sorry. I switched between force player and quote player by pointing down when I was at the beginning of this demo. So now we got a sound effect, and you saw that blade animation. So I do an unstable for most of these presets. It may be a little different for other like unstable blades, but I'll do a little unstable design for as long as the sound effect plays. Now, when you switch to a quote player, it doesn't do anything. It just plays the quote. And again, you have to be pointed down. Okay, so you can only, with the one button, you can only start and stop the track when the saber's off. So to start and stop the track with the blade off, just double tap. But with it pointed up, it's the designated. And then with it sideways, it's the track player. So we'll do the designated first. And then double tap to stop. And then the track player, again, pointed to the side. Get that little chime, but you're just going to start by choosing the track, by rotating, and then click the button to keep that track, and then again double tap to turn it off. So that's track player. To switch fonts, you'll long press with the blade off. That'll go forward. If you're pointed down, you'll go backwards.
Just a simple wonder.
And I mentioned it down below, but I did the Proffie OS voice pack from Brian Connor. If it's a character that he's done, i.e. Vader, Luke, Obi-Wan, then it's in that character's folder. So as you're changing presets, you'll change the voice pack. So again, if we're doing like volume changes or battery level, then you'll get that. But everything else will be for edit mode, and you can read about edit mode. Chances are you're not going to use it, but it's there for you if you want it. So again, it's with each character.
Ben Kenobi?
It'll change just like these colors do. So
battery level 84%.
So, and then if we want to get into the volume, what is that? Hold power and clash.
Enter volume menu, maximum volume, exit volume menu, enter volume menu.
Right. To the left it's down, to the right it's up.
Maximum volume, exit volume menu.
But again, for the rest of it, you can read up on how to do it. That'll cover most of the basic operations. But let's just show off a few more blade styles to let you know who's all on here.
I see you have constructed a new lightsaber.
You can get a little bit of a hint by the color. It's blue. Okay. And then again, each of these on and off states do something different. With this glass eye, it kind of like washes out what the actual pixels do. So when the chassis is out, you'll see it's usually like animating, doing something like that.
Help me take this mask off. Nothing is wrong now. I wondered when you would return. Kylo Ren.
I'm right. Hello, Master. It's Shinati.
Liquid static.
Serenity. Battery level.
So that's all the fonts, all the presets.
Just a simple wonder.
And then again, anything I don't cover will be on a printout for you. This one is a unique one, so I would suggest reading it, at least for the main functions. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks again for your patronage, and to everyone else watching, thanks for watching. May the Force be with you.